Welcome to the Outsiders. I am Josh Gross. It's a surprise show because we didn't tell anyone we're doing it. We're just doing a show. So, we haven't done a show for weeks, but we jump on Thursday night talking about mixed martial arts in a massive event. Jeff Sherwood, how are you?
I'm doing good. A little with no baseball tonight. I liked the every night.
Yeah,
I liked that.
Well, I'm good. It gives us a chance to do this, though. There's a lot of. Did you watch the debate tonight? There was a debate tonight.
I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah,
a little bit of it. Not much,
yeah,
but some of it.
Not the worst. Not the worst thing I've ever seen. It was like useful in some spots. So
it was better than the last one. Obviously, I mean, I watched a little bit more this time than last time. Last time was just kind of unbearable.
Yeah, anything would be better than last time. So, here we are, Jeff. We're deciding things. Big rivalries are being decided. Yeah, we have the presidential race, but UFC 254 is upon us. Justin Gaethje and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Billed as the most dominant UFC champion of all time. You can make the argument if you want. I don't know how you'd argue not, but maybe you don't feel. I'm just saying, he's a great fighter. He's undefeated. He has been perfect in his career, and there's not a lot of opponents that have stepped in against Khabib, Jeff, that you feel like this guy can beat Khabib Nurmagomedov. And I feel like Justin Gaethje carries that for deserved reasons. And here we are. He has that fight. He has that opportunity. Do you feel we're in for a competitive night on it's not even a night, just a day, a competitive day on Saturday?
Yeah, competitive day. I think with Khabib, a lot of guys, and this is how I think they feel. They feel that they're going to come in and they're going to dethrone him. And I think it's a little different once they get in the cage. I really think Khabib's stronger than 99% of any fighter in his weight class. And his grappling is unreal. So I'm living off of Justin Gaethje's last performance. I'm saying he definitely has a shot, but there's something in the back of my mind that says Justin Gaethje's going to get in there and be just like all the others. That's how I feel.
That's profound, and I appreciate that because I don't feel that. I feel like Justin Gaethje is not like all the others. And he may lose in the end, and I think he will lose because I'm picking Khabib to win the fight. But I don't think it's going to come without real tests for Khabib Nurmagomedov. I just feel that he's going to be hit. He's going to be out. He's going to be under stress, under duress. The fight will not be a dominant. I don't think it'll feel like it'll be decisive for a little bit. I mean, can Khabib lay on him and wear on him and just wear him out? And by the end of the third, Gaethje's done for? Yeah, Gaethje's gassed in fights and Gaethje's suffered for it. I think he's much more economical now with his energy and he's smarter. But he's never fought anybody like Khabib either. So this is what I love about the fight is that their styles, to me, even though they're so different, they mesh up so well. Their strengths clash. Their weaknesses aren't really weaknesses, but they match up well. I think we'll see striking exchanges, tons of wrestling, tons of transition. And it comes down to one thing for me is I just don't think Khabib's going to let himself lose. It's so simple, Jeff, but I just don't think Khabib's going to let himself lose.
I agree with that. And like you said, Justin's never been in there with anyone like Khabib, but we could possibly say the same thing about Khabib, but the grappling, that's the biggest thing. Is Khabib going to be able to have his way with Justin Gaethje? We haven't really seen anybody out grapple.
Not early. No way.
We think that.
I don't see
but
it,
would you be surprised, though? I mean, if he did
I would be a little bit. I would be a little bit. If early,
I don't think I would.
To just swooped him in, sucked him in, took him down, and that was it, I'd be a little bit surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen anybody do that to Justin, but has he fought anyone close to the grappling?
No, because there's nobody close to the grappling of Khabib. No, he hasn't. He's going to have to answer questions. The reason I feel like that is not that he's some great wrestler. There's a lot of really, really solid wrestlers who have worked their way through high school and college in the United States of America, and Justin Gaethje's on that level as a wrestler.
Right.
But like his athleticism and his speed are two really important factors in this fight, and they will translate early in wrestling. And I think the way that Khabib is going to have to close the distance, he could easily pay prices for trying to close the distance. He just can't just wade in like this.
Right.
So there's a lot of weapons that Gaethje has and a lot of athleticism and tools. And that's why I think Khabib struggles early with takedowns. It may not go shoot right away for takedowns. He may want to catch Gaethje standing and have him to think about things because Khabib can land that shot.
But I think that, going off of Justin Gaethje's last performance, especially those leg kicks, Khabib's not going to want to stand there and take those leg kicks. But Khabib cannot get sloppy coming in, like you say. He can't just come in like he's wrestling that bear and, have his way with them, because Gaethje's going to make him pay when he does come in. But I think eventually he will get his timing down and he'll be able to do that. But yeah, of course, Justin Gaethje is very dangerous, and he's going to have to stay away from that, in those periods. But let's see how Justin Gaethje reacts to being on his back and getting back up and possibly being on his back multiple times. Because as we know, that takes a lot of wind out of you,
right,
regardless of who you are,
yeah,
what kind of shape you're in. And we, like you said, we have seen him. He has gotten better, but this is another level. This is another level when somebody's on you. Their weight's on you all the time. They're battling just to take you down, get you down on the ground, hold you down on the ground, mixing some elbows and stuff. That takes a lot of wind out of your sails. And, that this is going to show a lot about Justin Gaethje, because usually when he fought, we're like, oh, you're not going to take him down. But now it's like, okay, he's going to get taken down. So it's a big difference.
He's going to have to fight for positions. It's a different kind of energy. This is the huge test. I think if this fight gets into the third round and beyond, then the Gaethje can't win the fight. He's got to win the fight in the first half and, take advantages of his speed, athleticism, and all the tools he has to bring, really kind of move through a game plan pretty quick. I don't think they can adjust and fight to a game plan that is trying to put Khabib out in 4 or 5. Like if they're trying to put him away, it's got to be in an earlier period. That's just me sort of bullshitting with you, Jeff, but that's kind of how I see it, because if the fight moves into the 15 minutes and they're both still standing, that means that what Khabib has stood and taken Gaethje's best for 15 minutes. No, it probably means that Khabib wrestled him and held him and controlled the fight, and that the rest of the fight's going to look that way. And so I just think Gaethje's got to do his damage early and really, really turn it up. But I love his attitude. Like his attitude about this entire thing's been incredible. It's what I really love about the fight is what Gaethje brings to it, the challenger. His whole thing of this belt, I don't need this belt. That's the belt I want. That's what I'm interested in. Talking about this in a real sort of world championship fight kind of way, that I know all the time I say, oh, these are just promotional titles, but the way these two are, and Khabib's greatness and Justin Gaethje, sort of I can look at this fight and say, this is feels like a world championship fight, just a true sporting context fight. We don't need trash talk to be super hyped when these two people stand in front of one another. That's how I feel about that.
I agree, and I think one of the key factors is going to be leg kicks coming from Justin Gaethje.
Yeah,
and it'll be how Khabib handles that and how it changes his game plan, or what his game plan is leading into that fight. Because obviously, I mean, we know AK is very smart coaching. They know he's going to get kicked, so let's see how he responds to that, because it's one thing to know you're going to get kicked and then to be in there and get kicked by Justin Gaethje, as Tony Ferguson found out. So we'll see. I think that's the key factor on how Khabib takes those kicks, to see what his next step is, what his next part of the plan is once he gets kicked in the leg a few times.
Yeah. I think if there's a curveball in this fight, Jeff, it's on Khabib's side. I think if you say he's flat, I could see that sort of just understanding this moment in his life, not having his father there, a year ago, he was in Abu Dhabi. Basically, his dad got to see him fight for the first time. All the feelings around that, I don't think it's going to affect him in a way that will make him not compete at his best. I think it'll probably motivate him to compete even harder and go through everything. But I just feel like if there's going to be someone who's off in the fight, it would be Khabib more than Gaethje. And when I say off, I don't mean like, looks terrible. I just mean like not quite the sharpest that they've been. And so I wonder about that. But otherwise, I think it's like almost a perfect fight. It's like, to me, I've been talking about it as like exactly what I want out of mixed martial arts. Mm-hmm. I couldn't ask for anything more than this fight,
We were talking about this fight, 3 months ago?
For a while.
So, it's, you bring up the loss of his dad and you think back at times, and the first thing that popped in my mind was Ian Freeman. Right? I mean, you remember Ian Freeman's performance after he lost his dad. That was the best Ian Freeman we've ever seen.
Well, he didn't know that he lost his dad. His dad was in the hospital. He learned after the fight.
But he
knew that it wasn't going a good way. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It was for his dad.
Yeah.
That fight was for his dad. Sure. And obviously if you lost your dad, like Khabib recently, you're fighting for your dad, and that could definitely reach you up to a level. We've seen it, in other sports as well. Things like that, they just push you over the top. But maybe we've just never seen the story about somebody that lost their dad or lost one of their parents and went into a baseball game and struck out 4 times or something like that. That's not a story. Why would you run a story about that? But it always seems like it motivates you.
Yeah, no, look, it's absolutely had to have affected him. The relationship with his father was part of his story. Everybody knew it. Everybody knows it, how important that was to where he is today. He's not fighting in this fight if it's not for his father. Like that doesn't exist. That doesn't happen. And so he's going to go through all of that. And obviously on the other side, you have Justin Gaethje talking about his parents, and they've been married for 37 years in small copper mine. And he's the second this fight goes off, the second he passes his COVID test Saturday in Abu Dhabi, this thing goes, he says she's retired. He's made enough money to do that. It's interesting, sort of the both sides of the coin, mm-hmm. And how people walk into a fight and what their mentality is and what they're feeling. And I don't know. I'm super hyped for this one. I feel like it's the kind of fight that really always delivers. I don't remember fights like this. Do you remember a fight like this that didn't really deliver? I mean, and what fights would you compare this to first?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there's fights that come to mind that, some of the Anderson Silva fights that didn't always deliver. Counter striker, sometimes that works that way.
I didn't feel when he's like fighting Talis Latis or like Damian Maia that my expectation was that this was like two bulls, right?
Right.
And the stakes were that high. It's a tough question. I feel like mixed martial arts generally delivers, and I've honestly can't imagine that this fight isn't an epic fight. It's the fight of the year. It's got to be the fight of the year. That's how I feel about it coming in. That's my expectation for it.
Yeah, and it should live up to that unless Khabib can go in there and get the early takedown and just continue and do that over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, Khabib is undefeated, and he's dominated everybody basically he's fought. And you said it off the top, and you could very well be right. And all this stuff that I'm talking about doesn't mean anything. Khabib Justin may just be another guy. Just another guy who Khabib steamrolls and wins. And that would be amazing. And then there's a chance to get to 30-0. And shoot, if that happens, I mean, then you're talking about, hey, let's figure out a way to make the GSP fight. Not 55, not 70, just do a catchweight fight. In terms of like MMA, pure UFC competition, like who's the greatest? That fight answers that question, right? That fight answers that question, doesn't it?
I mean,
no.
GSP is a little older now.
He is. He's in good shape. He's ready to fight. He's in good shape, ready to fight.
If you took GSP and Khabib at the same age and put them together, then I could say that. Now, I mean, I would, and I'm a huge GSP fan. I think GSP is probably the greatest mixed martial artist we've ever seen. And I would say if they fought after this, Khabib should be the favorite. So
why would Khabib even want the fight?
because he's a competitor.
Yeah, he's undefeated. GSP lost twice.
Yeah, he's a competitor. I mean, there's not too many people that are out there that could say that they beat GSP. Obviously, people were discounted because GSP hasn't really been active. He's older, who knows? But I mean, as Khabib being such a competitor, he's like, GSP is the only guy that really intrigues me. That will make me, go through the extra grind because of the name, the GSP greatness.
Could be, there's a promise and there's but it would be amazing if anything like that happened. So as far as I'm concerned, they could just broadcast this fight from Yas Island and I'm good on Saturday, but we do get a full card. It's actually a 6-fight main card. Some names some names you probably don't know. It's not what I had teased and, I think Khabib sent this out, so I blame this on Khabib.
He fooled us.
This is not what the main card looks like on Saturday, Jeff.
I really wish we got that Ferguson-Poirier fight.
Yeah. But now you get Poirier-McGregor.
I like that too.
You get that. Your boy McGregor is like
coming back.
He's
going to make MMA great again.
Oh, really? Why does MMA's just fine? It doesn't need to be great again. It's doing just fine.
No, but Conor does bring a little extra excitement back into the cage.
He has, but no guarantees. He's been around, gone for a while. But his Poirier fight, the thing draws a lot of interest. But we don't get Poirier. He gets McGregor. We don't know what Ferguson's doing. We'll see. Zabit and Yair, that's a great fight, and that'll happen someplace else. We get Whittaker and Cannonier, and that's the co-main event on the card. And I love the fight. I do think it's in the same vein and a really good energy kind of fight leading into the main event because it's a pure competitive fight. I've been high on Jared Cannonier since moving to 85. I thought that'd be a great weight class for him. It has been proven to be a weight class for him that he can do the things that he wants to do. Physically, he's strong and powerful, and it just seems to be working. And this is a huge fight. I mean, it's a step up in a major way. It couldn't be a bigger step up unless he's fighting Adesanya. And, he gets Robert Whittaker. What is your sense of this fight? Which way are you leaning?
I'm leaning toward Robert Whittaker after his performance against Darren Till. There was some question marks that came with Whittaker. I mean, those 2 fights with Romero were, life-changing, literally, fights for Whittaker, and I was afraid of that. I thought maybe he would be a little gun shy. He just wouldn't have. I think when fighters go through very difficult fights, they tend to tail off a little bit, and he didn't really show signs of that in the Darren Till fight. So I'm picking him. I always thought Whittaker was a really, really good fighter. And Cannonier, I think, is a fine fighter as well. I mean, he definitely belongs here. He definitely belongs in this spot. No questions about that. But I think in the end, Robert Whittaker is a better fighter than Jared Cannonier.
We're going to find out. I know you told me the odds makers have this totally even fight, right?
When the odds makers, at least the odds that I'm looking at, they're both, and these are from Bet Online, and they both come in at -110, -110. So when the odds makers can't pick a favorite, that tells you something.
That's what I'm saying. You have Whittaker as the better fighter here, and he's going to win, and I'm not so sure. I mean, you can't do anything but think highly of Robert Whittaker. It's like he's a great fighter.
Yeah.
I do feel like Cannonier has it in him to beat Robert Whittaker. I think he can mix things up and flow in a way that's going to give Whittaker problems. I think Whittaker tends to be sometimes a little bit too predictable, and Jarrett's not. I feel like Cannonier's a bit better in the way that he moves, a little bit smoother. I think it'll be the difference in the way that he can stream in wrestling and mix wrestling in. I think he can get Whittaker down. So I think Cannonier's going to be the man for this moment. We shall see. It's a good fight, though. Really good fight.
I will say this. Cannonier lost to Blachowicz Reyes, which, no shame in that, obviously.
Right.
He beat David Branch, which I was never high on. I always thought he was a little overrated, not as good as they put him out to be. Anderson Silva at the tail end of his career, but his last win against Hermansson was very impressive because Hermansson's no joke. So, right. Coming off of a win like that against Whittaker, that his level is definitely up there. Like I said, he definitely belongs here.
They booked this fight before the pandemic. It was supposed to be March 7th. I think that's right. Or it was for another date right in there. And then, they've been thinking about each other for a while. So, this is an excellent fight. You have Whittaker, I have Cannonier. We'll see how that one shakes out. This is a day MMA card. And obviously this fight between Makhachev and Dos Anjos was supposed to happen. And then Rafael Dos Anjos caught the COVID. That's still out in the world, Jeff. COVID still exists, still happening. Somehow mixed martial arts is seamlessly like sort of going through it and sometimes gets clipped by COVID, but UFC, Bellator, everything except PFL, right?
They still around?
They announced they're coming back April of 2021. They announced that.
That's a long time to have your people inactive.
I've actually been working on a story about that. It's coming out soon.
I mean, because you're taking time. I mean, just think about, because that was like, say, if they would have canceled baseball, canceled football, canceled basketball, like those guys, those veterans that are at the tail end of their career, basically sitting out a year. That's tough. That's tough for the athletes. I mean, they those fighters that fight for the PFL, they got to be at home. Just like, I couldn't imagine, the feelings that they're feeling, not being able to go to their job and not being able to go to work. And, it's crazy, but I don't get that feeling because I've worked every single day through it. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that maybe experience that too. They're working from home all the time and a lot has changed for them. Me, I don't really feel it because nothing's changed for me. I still get up and go to work every morning and work in an environment that is questionable for COVID. I mean, so it maybe it's one of those instances that you kind of feel a little more comfortable because you're dealing with it and you're kind of still in the same routine. Like, obviously I'm not going out to eat at restaurants and things because really nobody is. Things are just starting to open up a little bit. But to me, I can't help but feel still a little normal because my life is still kind of normal, just like it was before. So I don't really know that feeling.
Yeah, no, I get it. We a lot of people do, obviously. It's amazing that sports across the board is sort of just really figured it out. And they figured out how to wait. It shows it's possible to figure this out and create communities where there isn't transmission and people can be safe. Mm-hmm. It's possible to do that. And for some reason, we're not doing it all together, but we're just doing it in pockets.
Yeah, so, I think there's certain people that just don't go with the program, but
it's always going to be that. Yeah,
I'm just hoping that someday I don't have to wear a fucking mask to work every day because I hate it, especially when you're working and you got a mask on, and it just makes things uncomfortable. And and I'm hoping for the time where could go out and actually sit at a restaurant again and shake somebody's hand and things like that.
So, go to people's weddings.
Have a normal wedding.
Yeah.
So we waited a long time.
I got in the mail the save the date for the Jeff Sherwood Crystal. I'm not sure I should say her last name. I don't know her last name, but
she's gonna have one of the greatest last names ever.
Crystal Sherwood is a great name. So the wedding in April, and you dropped a bomb on me. I mean, hopefully the world is fine and I can make it, Jeff. But I would love to be there, and with or without a mask, I would love to be there. But
and we understand that because we know that. I mean, we don't know. Things change so quickly. We don't know what it's going to be like in April, but I totally understand if there's people there that don't feel comfortable and don't want to come. I mean,
sure.
It'll be cheaper for me, to be honest with you. But, but I want everyone, obviously everyone that we invite, we would like them to be there. But we still at the same time understand that, it's still kind of a crazy world out there.
Right. It is. I was going to do whatever I could to make it up there. And then you told me that you're going to get married by TJ DeSantis.
How about that?
Officiate your wedding. And
yeah.
I was like, wow, you're doing that. That's amazing.
Yeah, maybe he'll interview us both afterwards. Get our feelings and things.
Yeah. He's a big time guy now. I didn't know that he would be coming back to slumming it. I'm sure he's charging you a ton of money.
Right. It's like 1.2 mil, but
his going rate is.
It's worth it. And something else that might interest you as well is obviously he will not be there, but there's going to be a little something done by Bruce Buffer. So we'll see.
Why won't Bruce be there?
Well, who wants to come from Santa Monica or Malibu, wherever he lives, and come to the Central Valley?
I live in Los Angeles.
Well, you're a little more inland, though.
No, I'm out on the freeway. 15 minutes, I'm at the ocean.
Yeah, I don't know. I love Bruce, but me and you are better friends than me and Bruce.
Fair enough. Any chance to see Bruce is always a good chance. He's always.
I wish he would show up in one of his custom made suits or something.
I mean, it'd be great if we could do that. We could all get together again. Amazing to go to weddings and watch fights in person. I mean, it's great to see these bouts, but the lack of a crowd, we're kind of getting it, just a taste of it in baseball, and it's sort of work. Still sort of, it's weird, but they're making it work somehow. But
you could tell the difference with just the crowd that's there now.
Yeah,
I mean, it's so much better, but nothing's better than. I look back at going to the Dodger playoffs and one of the World Series games and just being there in the stadium and to feel that electricity and same as a fight. I mean, I've been to so many big fights over the years and just being there and feeling the electricity from the crowd. Like,
absolutely.
It's got to be weird for the fighters too. So
for everybody, for sure. I have to get a clarification for you from you, Jeff. It sounds like. Pretty sure Jeff is wearing a giant shirt. Now that's not. You would never wear a giant shirt.
I did. It's a Dodger 4th of July shirt.
Dodger 4th of July shirt. No, it's not a giant shirt. But thank you, Sebastian.
I did wear a giant shirt one time.
All right.
For a Halloween costume.
All right.
So there you go. That's the perfect colors as well. So I did invite, a couple celebrities to the wedding. I don't know if they will make it. Mm-hmm. One of them that I thought probably would make it, but just recently moved to Arizona. I don't know if you know that, but Tank Abbott moved. Mm-hmm. So he moved out of California. So
I would get as far away from Huntington Beach as I could as well. I think that's a really smart choice for Tank.
Why is that?
I mean, if you looked at what's going on in Huntington Beach these days.
Yeah, no way he wins, right?
Tito may win. If Tito wins, you have to run against him. Like you have to go back down there, fucking run against him.
Yeah, that's kind of funny, but yeah. So I don't know. So it could be a great time. It's going to be a great time, regardless. And yeah, I hope you make it.
I will do everything I can to be there. I hope it's not that far away. It's 6 months away. It feels like 5 million years away. It's weird at the same time,
177 days, Josh.
You got the days ticking down. Yeah. Well, people are counting down days all over the place. You ready for the election? Did you already vote?
I did.
You did? Okay.
I did. I took care of that. And gosh, I was trying to think about it.
How'd it feel?
It felt good. I mean, I actually sat down with the book and overread all the propositions. And that was the main reason why I wanted to vote. I wanted to vote for more localized politics,
right.
And the propositions. And,
well, there was a big Uber proposition.
There was, and I don't Uber anymore. Sometimes I wish I did. I wish I did,
right?
Because it was fun and I enjoyed it and got some great stories out of it. But yeah, I kind of wanted to get into those a little bit more. And I was trying to think when the last time I voted was, and I don't even remember. It's been that long ago.
Well,
so
it seems like a lot of people who never voted or haven't voted for a long time are voting. People are voting like crazy. So I'm glad you voted. It's good to hear. And I never asked you who you voted for president. I'm not asking now, but I'm happy to say I'm voting for, and I haven't voted yet, but I'm voting for Joe Biden. Like there's zero hesitation in my mind to say that or to do that, and I'm happy to do that. And I sincerely hope he wins. So that's my little spiel.
Now, are you mailing it in, or are you physically going somewhere to vote?
I was going to mail it in, but they screwed with the USPS too much, so I decided I'm not going to put it in the mailbox. I can drop it off in a ballot box, a specific ballot box in California, which I may do. I'm honestly kind of concerned because it requires a signature, right?
Yes.
So my signature when I got my driver's license, I literally just did that on the thing.
Well, you write like that anyways.
No, but I actually have a signature. I have a signature that I write on checks and everything else. But the DMV, the stupid things, it's like that. So it looks like squiggly lines. I'm like, I don't want to try and reproduce that. So I may just go vote in person. I haven't quite hammered that out yet.
Yeah, we took it to that. There's a place right down the street where you could vote at the local high school, and you could also take your ballot in there and drop it off. So that's what we did.
Cool. All right. Well, that's a PSA to everybody who watches this show. All of you can change the world. Vote. So
I should have worn my sticker so you knew. Yeah,
the sticker's the best. It's cool. They sent it in the packet. Everybody's worried about what about the sticker, but they sent it to you in the packet.
Right. I wonder how many people just put that sticker on and threw the packet away.
Liars. That's like dirty, low down stuff. If you do something like that, that's
right.
You can't be a good human being and do that. Like you can't. I'm sorry.
And then post it all over social media and all that.
So. Actually, not sorry. You can't do that. That's fine. that's on par with spitting on someo's face. Like that's.
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst thing ever. That's the worst thing you could ever do.
Very, very close there. So the rest of this card, Jeff, is there any fights that jump out to you? Anything that you're looking forward to? Bunch of fights on this on the main card. What are you thinking?
It's crazy, and I always seem to do this, like a fight that I always seem to love being on the undercard, and there's no difference here, is Casey Kinney against Nathaniel Wood. I think that's going to be a great fight.
Yeah.
And that could be a fight of the night, even with all these other fights on it. So we'll see. But that's my early pick for one of the big fights of the night. And Volkov, we've kind of watched him get pushed, and his name's been thrown out a lot. But we'll see Walt Harris. I think Walt Harris is going to put a little end to that and get the victory there.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
And we were talking a little bit before, and you asked me, and I didn't know, but because I thought we'd already seen that a few times, but you said, isn't this Stefan Struve's last fight? And I don't know the answer to that, because I think we've seen his last fight like 4 or 5 times, but who knows? We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, MMA retirement doesn't exist. So that's all Henry Cejudo's done is yell about coming back. It's annoying,
Right.
Say I'm taking a break for a while, and I may or may not fight. I don't know. And if I don't fight, that means I retired. I mean, the rest of it is stupid. Some names to watch, some fights to watch. If we can make it to Saturday, Magomed Ankalaev against Ian Kudalaba. They fought earlier this year. They're matched up 3 times, and now this is the 4th time for this fight, the rematch. We get that. That's a fight to pay close attention to, I think.
Knock on wood. Hopefully it makes it. We don't want another Khabib Ferguson incident.
Yeah, well, I don't. If it happens, it happens. I'm not like Khabib Ferguson was like people were depressed.
Right.
This is crazy right now. Anything can happen. But
Right.
It seems like you're doing a good job. I like that you mentioned the Casey Kenny Nathaniel Wood fight. That's a fun fight. I like that fight a lot. And I think someone to watch is Joel Alvarez. This is the first fight of the night. Spanish fighter. Owned Joe Duffy in his last fight, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a really nice guillotine choke. Like I think I love his style. He's fun to watch as well. So that's it for the card in terms of like the matchups. What are you feeling here? Is this like, I don't even know where I'm going with this, Jeff, because I'm kind of like just thinking about Khabib and Justin Gaethje. And I was like, I want to bring it back there, but I feel like we covered it so much.
Right.
What are your final thoughts on this event, this night, and these kinds of fights? Let's sort of wrap it up this way. Like these kinds of fights, and full credit to the UFC on this, because the only way that this fight gets made, the only way that we're talking about Khabib against Justin Gaethje in October is because they pushed the envelope in April and May. And because that happened, Justin Gaethje got to fight Tony Ferguson in Jacksonville, and he just swamped Tony Ferguson and destroyed him. And that sets up this super fight now. And so here we are. Like UFC stepped out, made it happen. Now we get to enjoy a fight like this. How do you think about these kinds of moments, and what do you take away from when these fights happen? Because I do feel like this is a special fight that we should be talking about in these terms. And I'm not alone there, right? You're in the same camp?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously we've had our differences over the years, but I've said
What?
not me and you,
Oh.
but that's taken place too. But I'm talking about me and Dana White. Not that he cares about me, or he did at one point, but I appreciate what he's done for the sport, because and this is from the start of Dana being in MMA. Like, Dana was the perfect guy for this, because he was never going to let it die. He was always going to push forward. He was never going to sleep. He was going to push the UFC and do everything he could to make sure that it survived no matter what. And now we're seeing him do the same thing during a national pandemic. And regardless of what you think of Dana and all this, my hat's off to him. I mean, he's done a good job, and his people have done a good job, and that is why we still we can still keep talking about things like this, because it very well could have been they closed up shop and just said, well, we'll be back after. They could have been PFL.
Well, yeah, it's interesting you say that. Has there been any other sports league or property that didn't come back that you can think of? I don't know if the World Surf League did. I feel like I saw that they didn't. But I mean, everything around the world, basically, right?
Yeah, it's all coming back. But at the same time, Dana never really left.
Oh, Dana wasn't leaving. UFC wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
I mean, at the height of all this stuff, I don't know. I'm looking at World Surf League stuff. It doesn't matter.
Why?
Yeah, at the height of this, when it was crazy, and I was writing pieces and at the Athletic, and we put on headlines like about that April 18th, the Tachi Palace card, UFC 249 can't intelligently defend itself. Like, it seemed like the UFC was not only like trying to make it happen, they were trying to blow up an asteroid that wasn't related to whether they were going to be able to promote fights or not, but they had to like stop that thing to make this thing happen. It was they were just screaming out of their hair crazy trying to make this event go on. They were going to do anything they possibly could. But that's been the energy of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, and not just Dana White. Ultimate Fighting Championship since the very beginning. Since the very beginning. This thing would have been killed 1,000 different ways had the people not believed in it and not said this is not going to die. And so that Dana White legacy 100% is deserved. He carried the mantle from that energy that was already existing. Meyerowitz and those guys at the end, they were struggling to the point of failure, but not for the lack of trying. Just all the stuff they did, they just hit a brick wall and they just couldn't go any further. So, it's like the ethos of the sport, and we get the big payoff, which is the massive championship fight. Boxing, credit to boxing. Boxing had a big fight this weekend, right? Lomachenko against Lopez. Mixed martial arts is doing it. Combat sports is suited to deliver these kinds of moments in a time like this. And that was obvious. And the UFC just, runs through walls to get it done.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I couldn't give all the credit to Dana, but definitely a lot of it. I mean, even back in the day, there was this small little shitty website called SureDog.com that battled through it to try and keep the sport alive as well. Yeah. That's me right there.
There you go.
Pat myself on the back.
I don't know.
You're hitting my face. No.
I'm congratulating you, Jeff. Yes. And here we are today talking just for ourselves, basically.
Still.
Yeah. Still just for ourselves.
And instead of us just calling each other and having a phone conversation, we just turn this little camera on and kind of do this instead.
We're much more interesting on this. If it was a phone conversation, we'd be boring and be done.
Right.
I don't know.
True.
So that's all I got for you, Jeff. That's all I got for you.
The last question that we could end the show with, that I was kind of wondering is, I'm wondering about the effects of this, as you said, being a day card as opposed to being Saturday night prime time.
You are right. I forgot the day MMA.
Is there a baseball game on Saturday night, or is that their next day off? Because I think they come back and play games 3 and 4, and then
I think they play 3 in a row, don't they?
I thought there was. I know there's another day off.
Asking these questions like while people are supposed to be watching this. Meanwhile, I can look it up.
Right.
We're acting like we're on the phone. No one should watch this show.
But then they can't see if I'm wearing a Giant shirt or not.
Yeah, that was weird. Saturday at 5 p.m. So perfect timing. Day MMA.
Perfect.
Way to go.
Now I'm even more of a fan. But I'm wondering if that has an effect on casual fans. Because you automatically think,
Jeff,
a big UFC fight's going to happen Saturday night, not start at 7:30 in the morning. I'm just thinking.
Why do you give two damns about what the casual fan is thinking about? By the way, the casual fan, if there's such a thing exists, they watch a lot of ESPN, and they're gonna get casual sports fans watch a lot of ESPN. But they're gonna get this is a big fight, and it doesn't really matter in a lot of ways because Khabib Nurmagomedov is a global fighter. He appeals to communities outside of the United States in major ways. He does big business, and this fight will do big business. And if you like the UFC, you've heard about this fight, and you know who Khabib is, and you know who Justin is. I can't see like that getting in the way of people watching.
Right, but I'll admit, obviously, I'm not as involved anymore. I'm not spending every waking moment reading or doing something with MMA. I only learned like 3 or 4 days ago that this was a day MMA. Now, I'll give you a for instance. My buddy Casual Chad, as we refer to him,
right,
is not a sports fan.
Right.
He hates baseball. He hates basketball. He hates football, but he loves MMA.
Right.
But he's a casual MMA fan for the most part. Now, I'm wondering if Casual Chad knows that this fight starts at 7:30 in the morning, because he's not going to watch ESPN.
Are you going to find out?
You're
just going to leave it.
I'll probably find out when he starts texting me at like 4 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Be like, dude, where's the fights?
Hey, Jeff, it's a betting opportunity. So there you go. Just saying.
I can't do that anymore. You know that.
No, you'd be ripping the guy off. You'd be a fraud. You can't do that.
Well, that would be okay, but I can't gamble.
That was a test of your decency. Right now, this is a test of everyone's decency, and you passed. As you always do, Jeff. You're a decent man. All right, for Jeff Sherwood, I am Josh Gross. Enjoy UFC 254. Enjoy Khabib Nurmagomedov against Justin Gaethje. We don't get fights like this very often. And when they do happen, I mean, they tend to deliver. I don't think there's any reason why this one won't. So, Jeff, are we doing a live show afterwards or not?
Well, what time do you think the fights? Because I'll be honest.
2? Probably
as long as there's a little time in there before the baseball game starts, I'm fine.
The baseball game starts at 5. We're good. We get plenty of time.
But we could come on for a little bit. But we'll hammer it out.
We will. We will hammer it out. And we look forward to talking to ourselves again. Jeff, be well. Congratulations again on the wedding date. TJ, don't screw it up.
Well, the TJ will never watch this, but, I've already told him that.
He'll still feel it in his heart, Jeff.
I'm trying and to tie MMA, and I know we're trying to get out of here, to tie MMA in a little bit more, and he'll never listen to this either, but I'm also trying to get who I think is one of the best photographers that I've ever known, Dave Mandel, to take photos. And at the same time, it could be like, a little gathering. Jordan from Bakersfield's going to be there. Big Al's going to be there.
Oh, it's awesome.
So, have a good time.
Yeah, that sounds like a great time. 6 months from now. Can't wait to do it. I'm looking much more forward to your wedding date than the start of the PFL. I just got to tell you right now.
Yes, I made it.
You made it. All right, Jeff.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye.
Later.